Thanks everybody for joining us for another edition of Off the Lead.
Where are you going with that?
One of those days, man. I just got off a webinar. Cut me some slack. In the lead off the record is what I'm trying to say. Kind of jumbled it up together there, but
all messed up.
Yeah, all messed up. This thing's going to hell. But anyway, thanks for joining us. We got a really cool segment for you guys today. I know social media is kind of a hot button, hot topic for a lot of our followers and a lot of the people in the various verticals that we work with. So we brought in an expert, if you will, somebody that we work with internally. It's got a lot of experience working with several companies, scaling up their social media, growing an audience. And without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Steve Peele. He is, what am I going to give you background for? Tell him who you are.
Yeah, so my background is primarily digital marketing. I ran our marketing efforts at a company called Dotloop, which was eventually acquired by Zillow Group. From there, I bounced over to a company called Inman News, which is a media company in the real estate space as well, and helped scale their demand gen effort. So all of their lead gen activity, we built out that program through automation and digital advertising, etc. And then now, most recently, with a company called Astronomer. And what I do there is I run a marketing experimentation program, which basically is a way to run like rapid, high velocity tests, right? Okay. So all digital, been in software, for 9 years now. Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know if that was helpful.
Yeah.
I don't know what all that means.
Clear.
I don't know what all that means.
Clear.
But,
yeah.
No, we'll dive into a little bit more about what all that stuff means. But for those of you who joined us before,
no one knew it, man.
Yeah, exactly. It sounded cool. It sounded cool. But you got Chase over here, myself, Kyle. For those of you guys, feel free to chat in, ask us any questions, give us a like. Love to hear from you. Also, we post this information and this content on our other channels as well. Twitter, Instagram. I think we even pushed some stuff up to LinkedIn. For you audio people out there, get on SoundCloud.
Yeah, we just updated our SoundCloud too. That's my fault. I'm behind on that. We got we got 3 of these Facebook Live things that are on SoundCloud and on YouTube now. They were really good too because they were on e-commerce. It was the one that I think we all talked about just the earth shifting essentially. And there was one other one that was really I thought the integrations. So for anyone who's got software that wants to learn about integrations or why you should have them.
Yeah.
And then obviously the massive shift that's going on in retail, and we're gonna have to talk about at some point. Probably not today, Amazon and Whole Foods and Walmart crying about their tech vendors using AWS. Like, what a joke.
Yeah, so for those of you that are new, this is pretty informal. We say off the wall shit, so if you're easily offended, this may not be for you.
If you're easily offended, I'm not for you. It's kind of...
So these are designed with different topics, different ideas to help you within your business. And it's just, we're down to earth people, and we just want to, essentially help you guys with what you're doing. So without further ado, let's talk marketing in the realm of social media. And to kind of kick it off, Steve, give us an idea of why, first of all, why you should be on social media.
Can we preface this real quick? Can we all agree that business is completely fucking different than it used to be?
Way different. It's different than your dad's business.
And the F word is a very necessary adjective for that because everything is different. And this, dude, I've been spending so much time, reading when you talk about Gary Vee.
Yeah. And Gary Vaynerchuk, for you guys out there, give him a follow.
The authority on social media, almost as good as Steve. But, just the where we are in terms of the transformation of business as we know it, it's this is like the tip of the iceberg. We're not even at the crux of it. So I just want to make sure everyone needs to understand that, I feel like.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, kicking it back over to you.
Yeah. Sorry, I just want to make sure we had the framework.
Well, here
we can't drive that point home enough.
No, and it parlays it into this. It's something we hear about at various conventions in the different industries that we go and have booths at. why a topic a lot of people always talk about is like why you need to be on social right now, but I don't think people it's like really sinking in.
Well, and there's a lot of stuff I really want to hear you talk about after we go over the basics. Is at these industry things something, and Steve, I don't know if you and I had a chance to talk about this, but there are a lot of there are these industry loyalty programs and this other stuff that are kind of promoting different technologies, and there's some of this stuff in that's just straight up damaging to your Google ranking, your SEO. I'm talking syndicated content networks where you've got companies that are they'll publish to a group of retailers' Facebook pages, but it's all the same stuff.
It's pretty common.
But
there's a lot of agencies
that comes through social, whether that's paid acquisition or just running campaigns against a community that we've built. Your audience, regardless of whether you believe it, is on social media.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
They're there, and the fastest accelerating demographic I think is actually
is it 45
and up.
Yeah. So that said, you absolutely have to use social media. Now that doesn't mean go on social media and talk about only your product all the time and do shit like that.
Or just blast random stuff.
Right. There has to be some strategy. So
you gotta give the kit, right?
Right, exactly. Right. So for me, when I approach it, sure, at the end of the day, I want more dollars for what I'm selling, right?
Of course.
But to get there, there's education, there's providing value to your audience. So it's all about really approaching it the right way and not just saying, or checking the box and saying, yeah, I did social media.
I got an Instagram account.
Right.
Yeah, it's not enough just to create. Well, first of all, it's just not enough to create an account on Facebook or an account on Instagram and post a piece of content every 3 months. That's not good.
Yeah, it's not. The educational standpoint that you were talking about. How important was that as you guys were introducing dot loop to the real estate market, where there was where real estate is in a lot of ways, it's kind of you guys have all said in Wes, who is also a dot loop, that real estate is a lot like lumber and building materials is today. Where they were when dot loop got started. So they're just 5, 6 or 7 years behind. That had to have been a key component because you have to be hey, wake up, there's a need here. And did you just out of curiosity, I know Snapchat didn't even exist, I don't think at that point, but did you guys use social a lot to educate? Yeah, and I'd say that's one thing that at Dotloop especially we did really, really well. We did it in 2 ways, right? So we have our social presence on your Facebooks, your LinkedIn, whatever. But something outside of that we did was we built a Facebook community group, right? And basically what do you mean by that? Yeah. What it was thousands of our users helping and educating each other and having debates about best practices and talking about where the industry is going. But Dotloop was at the head of that table, right? Because we were facilitating the conversation as well as providing value specifically to our product, right?
There's thousands of people in that group.
Thousands.
And when you talk about educating, just to put this in perspective for someone who does what I used to do, huck truckloads of lumber, you're talking about saying, hey, here's a great scenario where you use product X instead of product Y. That type of thing. So providing value and insight, just about stuff that has to do with what you do. Not saying buy this product for me instead of this product. It's more so you mean literally just teaching them about stuff.
Yeah, different types of countertops or different types of cabinets or why you should have hard surface in your laundry room as opposed to soft surface. Educational items.
Okay. Yeah. Just so everyone who hears this or is watching can follow.
Not just say we're having a holiday sale.
Right.
Yeah.
It was actually we designed the group so that we didn't make those statements. We never said hey, you need to upgrade to this product or anything. It was our motivations were pure and that we wanted to facilitate a conversation around it could be anything, strategies for marketing your business. Granted, Dotloop can't help you do that, but the real estate community within that branded group could help each other. And it became kind of self-policing, and we became an authority because of that. It was insanely valuable.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I think that a lot of times what Kyle brought up happens is people will like make a post. They're like, "Oh yeah, like you've got a Memorial Day sale," and that's like it. Like it's not.
And then, we'll come back again for our July 4th sale.
Right. And speaking of the opposite of best practices, I mentioned in the Instagram video I posted this morning some of the garbage. Like, so we'll talk about the content syndication, the issues with that, and how that's going to punish you on Google. But the other thing, I saw this the other night. So Medium has become kind of like a cool site. For those of you who don't know what Medium is, it's like a blog type. You can go on and be a writer, and it'll curate content and it'll serve content based off your interests. But it's basically like
all kinds of different perspectives.
Yeah, and it's like a great way, instead of having to run your own WordPress blog, you can literally just blog on Medium. So that's becoming pretty big. And so I was looking to see kind of like what was on there in the home improvement, home furnishings, building material space. And I kid you not, like, talk about something that you absolutely should not do under any circumstance. Someone had ripped it was a carpet and floor covering store. I sent it to Kyle. Someone had ripped content directly off of like someone else's website. It's like Build Direct's website.
Straight up copy and
like, I mean, dude.
Oh my god.
Control C, Control V, like copy paste.
Not even like they didn't even attempt to like cover the tracks.
It's on Medium, and like I was like, this is, because I started reading it and I was like, this has got to be a joke. And like I found that more than once. And the other thing was, I went on that particular company's page and I saw all these other articles and started looking at those. Same shit. Wow. It's like, so you can't steal other people's content. Like, yes,
it's
like
not okay.
Generating content is hard. Before Steve walked in the office here, Kyle and I were talking about how we wish we could do this. Like, we needed to find something to talk about once a day. Yeah. Like, it's hard. You have to think. You've got to, like, social requires work.
Right.
Like, you can't just push out garbage stuff that's not original and then have it resonate. Because, and again, going back to like how we all buy and how millennials buy, like we appreciate originality. Like, we basically know if you're full of shit. If I see that you're copying someone's content, I'm never gonna buy anything from you.
Now, if you're out there and you're running a 3, 4, 5, 10-man shop, and you just are thinking, I don't have the time in the day to tackle social because I'm out selling lumber, I'm out selling countertops, whatever the hell you're doing, bring somebody in that does. I mean, shoot, you can get a college intern that'll do it for you for cheap, for free, or $10 an hour, whatever it is. Like, this is that important for you to have somebody dedicated doing this every single day.
One thing that I've seen companies that like struggle with kind of that bandwidth issue and like, okay, how do we get involved in social without adding, a huge line item? Right?
Right, because they always look at the bottom line.
Right. So what I've seen a lot of companies do, and I'll use a bar as an example. Queen City Radio here in Cincinnati, one of my favorite places in the world.
Always love bringing up a bar.
But they have like some of the best social media that I've seen in a very long time. And the way that they were able to do that was they engaged their existing employees, like the bartenders, the guys that are, shuffling drinks back and forth, everyone. Empowered them, encouraged them to get involved, and then now they're the people that are generating the content. And that was a free way for them to say, okay, we know that we want to be invested in this. We may not have the bandwidth for it, but let's go ahead and farm it out to our existing already.
But that almost makes it better because you're getting different stuff all the time.
Exactly.
And imagine if you got 10 locations, you got 4 or 5 people in location.
It's money.
I mean, your content is going to explode.
Yeah, and you really just have to the one thing that I think like I've learned is we've had to do more of this here, like, so from personal experiences, you just have to not give a shit. Like, I'm filming a video of myself and putting it on Instagram. Back off me.
You don't have to be perfect. I think that's another misconception, right?
That's a good one.
When you're posting these and making posts on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all this stuff, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to do.
Yeah. And related to that is the reason you don't have to be perfect is because people like us, when we buy, we're looking for a human experience.
Authenticity, right?
Like, that is huge to us.
There's no
it has to be genuine. It can be a super polished thing, but what's going to resonate to us is another human on the other end that we can tell like isn't a robot.
Yeah, people like
shipping
buying
out
from
or
people.
copying and pasting stuff. Right?
Yeah,
like,
it is robotic.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what in like on that note, what do you think about stuff like this content syndication? Because like let's talk technically. Google has built into its algorithm identification of content that's the exact same, basically. And even if you change a couple words, no, you're not safe.
Right.
And it knocks you all the way down the search rank.
Yeah.
Which is just a blow.
Like, why, from your perspective, from a marketer's perspective,
Yeah.
like, what do you think about that?
I would say, obviously, I think it's the worst idea in the world. Secondly, like, you don't control the story at that point, right? Like, what you're pushing out into the world is not you. Therefore, people's perception is completely inaccurate.
It's not a representation of your business, right?
Exactly.
Especially, like, I mean, a lot of the people we work with have been in the business for 20, 30 years, have a ton of experience and knowledge, and you're giving that up?
A question that I would ask, actually, is the people that do the content syndication, have you seen money come in as a result of that? And I would argue that literally no one has seen that be successful.
Like, and that's what kills me is like I think it goes back to what you were saying about people just like wanting to have social media.
Yeah.
And so this is what like I think that's where those people, because they're like, oh, I can pay them $200 a month or whatever,
because they know
and then like I have social media. Well, like no, you don't. Like you're really just lighting $200 a month on fire. Like
what I'd also say related to that is like if you're only going to do it 2% of the way, like you're better off not doing it, because the people that find you and see that you're not actually leveraging it or doing anything with it, it's just like, oh, like they're shitty. They don't
and so to piggyback on that, the one thing I would want to say to everyone who's listening is a lot of these programs I have seen come down, like a lot of independent retailers will look to larger businesses like their vendors to provide them and guide them. Like content, take ownership of your business. Don't be looking to see what someone else is gonna like give you as a handout or give you for free. There's entirely too much dependence that we've seen from like independent business to vendor, and that's a great example of how even great intentions can lead to a less than desirable outcome. So like don't just take your vendor's word for it, because let me tell you something, like our industry is like 20 years behind every other industry. So even if your suppliers, a $1 billion lumber company or whatever, that doesn't mean that they know what the hell they're doing in the digital age.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, and like nothing against them. We work with companies on both ends of the spectrum. So like I don't mean it to slight anyone, but just like take ownership of this, like, because it has to be original, like Steve's saying.
Well, you're also going to have your competitors down the street, right? So many of you carry the same products as Joe Blow Lumberyard 10 miles down the road.
Yeah, a lot of them
or
are
Ford
commodities.
Dealer. You know what I mean? So you're carrying the same stuff. Do you think that manufacturer or distributor or whatever it is going to deliver a piece of content that is different to you, to the guy 10 miles down the road? No.
Yeah, and what separates you then, and Steve, that's something that I think you guys didn't necessarily have to deal with at Dotloop, was that a lot of our customers are selling like prefabricated goods, pre-manufactured stuff. So like what it is, and what a sheet of plywood or particle board is at, or fiberboard rather, at Home Depot is the same as it is at like some lumber yard that's been around forever. And so this is a great area of differentiation, because when you're selling a commodity that like Amazon sells too, this is a great place for you to like establish yourself as being different. So like your tweets, your Instagrams, I think like and on I guess kind of moving sort of along, we can come back to this if you guys want, but what mediums do you think are super effective on social and paid? Like we've been talking a lot about video. Because I feel like Google AdWords, like who the hell reads the ads anymore? The only ads I look at are inventory ads when I'm searching for a product.
Yeah.
You know, like what mediums do you think? Like what mediums, what networks? Like where do you see things right now for business owners in terms of what they should dedicate some time to?
For sure. To preface that, I'd say, like, before I like go down the path of using a specific tool, I start with like the end in mind, right? So a use case would be, you know, if I were still at Dotloop, it's like, where are real estate agents? Well, they're on Facebook. What data can we leverage to actually identify them and extract them and actually put our message in front of them? Like, how do we bring them to our storefront, right? So just want to say that before I listed out platforms. Facebook has a lot of really, really good audience data that allows you to target and kind of shape the audience that you want to speak to, right? So I'd say Facebook is huge for that. Whereas like Google AdWords, like, of course they have data, but you can't get as granular around like specific interests or things like that.
Well, and now with
Instagram.
Facebook buying Instagram,
Yeah,
that's exactly
huge.
like the ad platform is the exact same.
Right. So, and it's actually integrated. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly, like one for one. So definitely Facebook, Instagram, like wildly valuable. Lots of really good tracking. So you know, if you were to run a campaign on Facebook or Instagram, you can directly, you know, look at the data and see what's performing well, right? Like, yeah, we ran this ad unit and we saw that 500 people click through to our weekend special. Like, I look at that as a success, right?
Yeah.
Because you're only spending, you know, $100 or whatever. So definitely Facebook, Instagram, and video on both platforms.
You think video is the way to go?
Oh, it's huge.
Have you seen in like with what you've been doing, you can call it like the last year, since I feel like that's really when video ads became like available. Have you seen like a measurable difference in engagement?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
So, and is it the same with posts too?
I would say it's the opposite.
Really? So text posts probably do a little bit better?
At least what we've been doing at Lead Tool. Across the board, I mean, it all boils down to like, are you putting out good content, right?
Right.
Like, sure, you could argue, you know, video is more engaging than text, but
if the content's
if the
garbage.
content's shitty, like nobody cares.
But
right?
like assuming
Whether it's video or-
yeah, if you're gonna like
yeah, I would say video, clear winner.
and same thing with like paid though.
Yeah.
So like paid, yeah, because I feel like if you make something that someone, I know video grabs my attention. I think that's part of what has kind of screwed up Google AdWords for me.
So I got a question to piggyback off this.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about video. You know, there's all these different applications, right? You got your Facebook, you got Instagram, you got Twitter, you got YouTube. I mean, you name it, Snapchat. You have these. Can I just do a one size fits all video across all platforms, or is it gonna take something like? Do I have to have like a format for each?
I think either or, but it goes back to like,
Because you know, like hashtags aren't on
Right.
Facebook; they're on
Right,
Instagram and Twitter. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, for sure. So I would say you can follow a similar style on each channel. I don't think that really matters. I think what's really important is like length, right? So like on Twitter, I'm not going to watch a 5-minute video. I might watch a 20-second clip though.
Right.
On Facebook, I'm more invested in the content that I'm engaging with. And I think there's data to support that. I don't know where that data is, but I'd love to do some research on that.
But it's there.
But it's there. Like I strongly feel that way.
So yeah, so to do with like Twitter's a lot. It's text based.
It is text based, but they also are pushing video pretty significantly. And to that point, also, video on Facebook, both paid and organic, will surface so much higher because Facebook is super invested in building out their video platform.
So
you'll
basically,
see-
we should be doing video on Facebook.
Right.
We should stop everything we're doing in
Right.
video on Facebook.
So yeah, it's crazy. There was a campaign that I ran. What was it, like 2 weeks ago, and I think we spent like $80 or something like that, and saw like 7,000 views.
No way.
I'm like, holy shit, how is that possible?
And then relate that to a TV ad or a billboard.
Dude,
So
and
you don't,
yeah,
you have no
and
idea what
was
you're
that-
doing. You don't know what the views are.
So the
You know?
video you made and like getting in, because I think this is a question I would have if I were listening. Hell, it's a question I have now because we all know I know nothing about marketing. What, like, when you say you did like a video ad, like, what are you guys, like, what kind of content in your paid ads, your paid video on social are you putting? I mean, are these like whiteboard drawings? Are they like cartoon type things? Is it actual like film of people?
Is it products?
Yeah, like, what is that? I mean, what does that generally look like?
So in most cases, or at least the far majority of what I've done in the past, say 9-12 months, has been like customer stories, right? So our customers speaking about how we were able to help them with our product, right? And that seems to resonate because when you think about it, if the person that's actually seeing the video, if you've done your targeting right and you've set up, your demo right, like that video is going to specifically resonate to their problem, right? So if I work for a CBG airport and I see a video, surface about how, product X can help streamline, wait times or whatever, like that's super relevant. Right? Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Do you have any feelings on Instagram ads yet? I mean, I know because I feel like businesses have not gotten the hang of Instagram yet. Maybe there's just not enough. I feel like that's a great opportunity.
You're still trying to figure out Facebook.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to get ahead of the curve.
Oh, for sure. In my experience, and this is probably due to the fact of just like using the same content on Facebook as I did Instagram. Like when I run, and I could pull this up and even show you, when I run ad units through Facebook, I do add them to Instagram, right? It's a little checkbox, no problem. But the Instagram performance is significantly lower than the Facebook newsfeed engagement. So to your point, it could be an opportunity to like really double down on Instagram. And I know that obviously they're building out their ad network as well.
I think and I think the cool thing about Instagram is that like it appears so kind of organically in your feed. Because whereas like, so I'm not a big Facebook person. Like you guys know, the only reason I have Facebook is because we have a business page and I'm an admin for it. So the Facebook, their user interface is so cluttered with stuff. I mean, I know, but like I know I'm the anomaly because people love Facebook. That's why they have so many users.
Like 2 billion people that
love
only
it.
2 billion.
Yeah, that are like
a third of the planet. Whatever.
Well, and you think about the number of logins they get and how much time people spend in there, and it's like the one thing I will say about Instagram is that the way that the ads show up, like I feel like you have a lot more attention.
Well, here's the thing too that I think like Facebook started out as a web application, right, and then developed into mobile.
Right.
Instagram was not like that.
No, Instagram didn't have a web app for a long time.
And their web app's pretty garbage. But their mobile app, which is where all the viewers are going. I mean, it's something stupid like 80% of views are coming through your mobile or something like that. And so to Chase's point, like you may not be getting that result or that audience right now, but you will be.
Good point.
Yeah, this stuff all takes time, so it's not something you can do.
I'm so
great point.
It's not something you can do for like 3 months. You can't just be pushing content out for like 90 days and then be like, why don't I have 10,000 views every time or why don't I have 1 million followers, or even why don't I have 1,000 followers? Like this stuff takes time to build up. Yeah,
especially if you're gonna do it right. Like it's not like a light bulb. You don't flip the switch.
No,
you keep grinding and grinding and grinding and building an audience and building authority and building relevant content that's original and authentic and engages the people that you care about, but it takes time. It's not like we're Coca-Cola, just starting an Instagram. Yeah, sure, they're gonna have hundreds of thousands of followers tomorrow,
right?
But it's like you have to build.
Yeah, and to build, you've got to do it consistently. And you've got to put out good
every
stuff.
day.
What do you think? Where do you see like businesses? If you were gonna name like, I don't know, 2 things, 3 things. Maybe it's only 2, like where you see, or 1, like what's the biggest thing you see people like do wrong on social? Like business owners, like smaller, but not talking about the Coca-Colas of the world. Obviously when they mess up, it winds up all over the press.
Yeah.
Like Pepsi. But now, what do you see people do like incorrectly most frequently?
Using social media as a megaphone. It's
Okay.
like, that's, like, don't walk into a room and start screaming. It's like, walk in, understand what people are talking about, and offer input, right?
Right.
Gary Vee is, like, all about this. He's like, and he says this in almost, like, every video. He's like, 95% of what I tweet is a direct reply to someone, right? Because I'm trying to offer value. It's the rule of, jab, 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 right hook. Like, that's what he wrote a book on. He's like, give, ask, right?
Yeah.
So when you approach social media, like, definitely consistently post, but also engage, right? Like, as people comment on your things, like, definitely comment back, because these people are engaging with you.
Yeah.
Right? For Twitter specifically, like, go through, search hashtags that are relevant to your business and engage in the conversation. Not from a perspective of buy my stuff, but offer value or insight, because there are people online that are having the conversations, right?
Yeah.
And you can be a part of those now, which is awesome.
Well, there's no barriers.
There's no
So like, if the press doesn't want to play ball with you, like, you build up a following, you don't need the press.
Right.
You kind of like dictate everything on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, like, for video, do you see any value in YouTube channels and stuff like that, like having obviously longer form content, I would imagine, like stuff like this?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the unique thing about YouTube too is, like, you have an audience on YouTube, right? And you get found there or whatever, but then you can actually, like, take that video and just use it on any other channel, which I think is valuable, right? And actually, this brings me back to the unique videos per platform discussion. Like, for YouTube, the way that I look at it, sure, you can build a 5-minute video or shoot a 5-minute video and put it on YouTube, but then pull clips, like you just mentioned, like run or grab 30 seconds and put it on Instagram. And if you cut that 5-minute video, 6 times, that's 6 pieces of content.
And there's all kinds of free applications out there for you to cut these videos up, like whether it's mobile or web app. There's just so many tools available today to achieve this result.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's you or somebody you hire, if you have a department, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And final thing, I know we've gone over 30 minutes, but Snapchat. Business and Snapchat. That's what I can't figure out.
Dude, I'm not there yet.
Recent $25 billion publicly traded company.
I struggle with Snapchat, right? Both personally and, like, from a business context.
Why is that, Steve?
Oh God.
Let's dive in.
Oh man. Well, here's the thing that I think doesn't work is you're a brand that has virtually 0 following or social presence, and then you immediately go to Snapchat. I don't think that works. I just fundamentally believe that it does not work. If you're a brand that has an existing presence on other channels, you can leverage those to build your audience on Snapchat.
Yeah.
The reason that that's important is because Snapchat doesn't have a lot of great discovery tools, right? So it's not like Instagram where you go search, Billy Bob's hardware store.
Or even scrolling through your the things you might be interested in, or whatever the menu button on the bottom is. I mean, dude, I'll scroll through there for hours.
Yeah, the discovery is not great on Snapchat yet, and ultimately that's what you want. Like, you want to be discovered. So the only way to do that really is, I guess, leveraging your other channels.
That's a good point. To build your audience across all these channels, you can leverage one for the other.
Yeah. And the other thing is, from a business context, I haven't figured out what works on Snapchat. Meaning,
has anybody?
Like,
I don't really think
you see HubSpot doing it, and they're doing it really well. And the reason they're doing it really well is because they're educating their marketing audience, right? They're going through and actually, like, providing real value.
They also have a giant following.
They also had a huge audience on all their other channels before.
Yeah.
But, like, that works for them because their product is, or the content that they're putting out helps people use their product.
Makes sense.
The other challenge here is how frequently do people buy, flooring materials, right?
Yeah, or lumber, or
exactly.
like countertops, or it's not super frequent.
Or
Right,
sure,
so
well, let's back it up here too, right? Like a large portion of, at least the pro sales top 100, like for many of them, a large portion of their business is contractor sales.
Yeah.
But in a lot of these markets are big markets, like here in Cincinnati. I mean, shoot, we got 84 Lumber, there's ABC Supply. Like, there's a lot of big players in these markets that you can start leveraging some of this to pick up additional market share.
Yeah, and Steve, I'm not sure where you were going with that, but before I forget, the other thing too that everyone needs to remember is that, like, people see social still as a lot of being business to consumer. Like, it's going business. You were just talking about HubSpot. That's a business to business brand. Like, it's just as important. It's just that not as many people have yet, like, realized the light bulb hasn't gone off for whatever reason. They walk in the door to work and they just, like, forget that they do all of these things and consume content this way. But what were you saying? Like, if something's a purchase that's not, if you don't make a purchase frequently.
So that comment was, or that kind of thought was going to go into, like, okay, if you understand within a 12-month window that there's going to be 8 months throughout the year, customer A is going to buy at month 8, and then the other 4 months they're not buying, right? So how do you provide value, like, in these 8 months leading up to it and the 4 months after?
Well, so it's really interesting because a company we work with actually found that it takes 149 days for a consumer to make a purchase from the moment they start looking.
Wow.
Because they're consuming that content. That's why you need to be putting the content out, I guess. That makes that's your data for your case.
Yes, exactly. And it's like, I guess, so that comment directly or specifically was targeted towards Snapchat, meaning, like, as a business, you're not going to win by promoting yourself on Snapchat. I firmly believe that.
Right.
And you're not going to be able to provide value by promoting yourself all the time on Snapchat, right? Where you're gonna win is by having those little nuggets of advice or insight or understanding that helps that buyer, when they go to make the purchase, they're like, oh shit, I follow that company. I've been consuming content. They showed me that, flooring tutorial in 30 seconds. That was a time lapse and it was super sick. And they're going to go with you because, like, that's an engagement that was positive to them.
Yeah.
But if that same company had pushed out, like, we're having a 50% off sale this week, come on, like, that's not.
It's going to attract, that's also going to attract those buyers that are just price shopping.
It's not, because there's a lot more, like, the whole game with this is a hell of a lot more about, value than it is about price. Because so as the value goes up, the price issue goes down, right? Yeah. And, like, I think social, I think, like, your overall point, if I understand correctly, has been that, like, these are channels where you deliver value.
Yes.
Like, not pimp your product.
Right.
Like, we don't go, like, if you looked at our social, I don't think we ever post anything. Like, we probably should do, like, slightly more product marketing when we release stuff. But other than that, we post these.
The occasional shameless plug.
But I mean, it's never like, hey, like, buy the lead tool or, buy something. It's always like, see our webinar about forecasting inventory based off sales data, like stuff like that.
Pipeline selling, whatever it is.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, and that's, you're trying to trigger, so, like, really it's about triggering that thought, I guess is what you're saying.
Exactly.
So,
I think, to your point, like, it's all about balance too, right? So if you're constantly providing value 95% of the time, you're allowed to ask.
Yeah.
5% of the time. Like,
well, that ask becomes easier.
Oh, totally. But it's also, there's that context. Like,
right.
I've been engaged for X amount of time. Oh, now they've got this cool thing that they're selling this weekend. Like, that makes it so much easier to engage.
Or that sale that you now post about makes more sense than to come back.
That was my point.
Yeah, because, like, you're already, you're top of mind because you've been producing valuable content that delivers insight, thereby earning the right to the ask.
Exactly.
What do you see in terms of transactions taking place? Like, Facebook Messenger has, like, a payment, like, and I know this is, like, super out there, but do you see, so, I mean, that's, like, bleeding edge stuff, but people are doing it. Do you see, like, purchases eventually, like, at least, and I think this is probably more relevant to retail, at least initially, do you see purchases taking place in some of these social channels? I mean, Facebook's obviously going to try to do it.
Oh, for sure. That's a really good question.
Because you're consuming, because think about it, like, I guess, like, I hadn't thought about it until right now, but, like, think about this, like, I'm on Facebook, I'm consuming all this content, or I'm on Instagram, we'll stick with Facebook because they've already got the thing in Messenger. I'm consuming this content, and then, like, bam, I just decide I want to buy this person's whatever they're selling. Like, because, you know, we're always yapping about making buying easier, like, so we've really, like, for us, like, we took it to heart because we shifted how we were building our software. Like, so we don't build as much for our customers, we build for their customer. So it's one of those things where you're removing a friction point, because it's like, hell, if you can, I mean, is Facebook going e-commerce? Like, what do you think about all of that stuff? Do you think there's going to become, like, pockets of transactions that are going to be taking place on social?
Pockets, yes.
Okay.
Pockets,
but
yes.
not, like, overall.
I don't think so.
I think that'll probably take time, right?
I think it'll take time. I think it really will. I think online, like, checkout, like, on site for these retailers, duh. Like, without a doubt. Like, definitely. I think just from a consumer standpoint, you know, surfing the web and making large purchases, I don't know if that's...
Through social, I just don't, like,
I don't see it.
It's like, who cares if it's Amazon or it's, like, a brand you know, or whatever, because, like, I'd rather buy online, you know, for sure, and then pick up in the store. That's what I do with Apple. Every time I buy something from Apple, I buy online, I pick up in the store.
Here's the crazy thing.
But I probably wouldn't do it on social. I don't think.
Yeah, right. So I mean, this is the same thing people were saying back in 2000 when Amazon first kind of came on board. Nobody's going to buy anything online.
Oh yeah, and I would never be silly enough to say no one's going to do it.
Right.
But I think, like, maybe
it'll take time. But I think you know, 5-10 years, I think we'll start seeing it as a pretty normal thing to do.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's a crazy
world.
It's
interesting. I'm like, now my head is just like...
Well, yeah, because so what we were talking about, like, right before you walked in was the rate of change. So we were talking about, you know, in all this stuff, like the social, like, think about how fast social has changed. Like, Snapchat came out of basically nowhere. And then you've got, like, now we're even talking about transacting on Facebook's chat platform. And, you know, we talk to a lot of people who are like, oh, we're busy, you know, like, we don't, you know, they'll be like, we don't have time to do CRM or whatever. And it's like, the rate of change right now is so fast, like, for better and also for worse, that I think, like, the next downturn is going to just hit people upside the head like a brick. And if you're not building the audience now, like, that's part of your brand staying power, and, like, this stuff changes so fast that it's like, dude, in, like, a year, who the hell knows? Facebook's Messenger, like, payment platform, whatever, people may be doing, like, $1 billion a year through it. Like, who knows? It just, everything changes so fast. I think it's hard to even gauge what to bet on. It's like, I think that's the trickiest part with social.
But let's tie it all up together now. But you got to start. You got to do.
Yes.
Start.
Absolutely.
Number one.
You got, first and foremost, you just got to do it. Get something out there, push it out, and just start putting the content in.
Don't half-ass it. If you're going to, just don't do it.
You know no once every 3 months. Like, you gotta kind of be on it, and don't, like, not everything, like, a lot of, and Gary Vaynerchuk is huge on documenting. You know, a lot of it's,
that's a good point.
A lot of it's, so maybe that's something we should bring up. And by the way, if you do not follow Gary V, and V is VEE, check him out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. He's probably the most highly regarded social media expert, I would say, in the world at this point. He now has an agency that does tons of work for huge brands, arguably the expert in the field. Document what you're doing. You know, document a day on the life of a yard. Document a forklift unloading a truck. Document millwork being made. Document a pallet of flooring being unloaded, or someone taking a sample out of the showroom. There's so many different things that you can do that, like, it's just sharing the experience. It's like a day in the life. I think, like, sometimes that's why we get views on some of our stuff, because it's like people do wonder, like, what is life like in a startup?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like rainbows and butterflies like Hollywood would have you believe. But they're interested into like a window into your world. So documenting, I guess, is probably a really easy place to start.
Totally. Because you're already doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it requires zero effort.
Yeah.
Push a button. That's
Yeah,
what it requires.
literally.
Yeah, and you don't need fancy equipment. We're
Right.
doing this on an iPhone on a little $10 stand. From,
iPhone 5.
Yeah, iPhone 5.
SE,
iPhone 5.
SE.
SE, sorry.
Alright,
Sorry.
alright,
Yeah.
people.
Sorry, Kyle. Sorry.
It's a touchy subject, people.
But yeah, so do you guys have anything else you wanted to cover? Anything else you feel like can help our audience?
Outside of doing it and doing it all the way, I'd say be authentic, don't be a robot. Trust that investing time into it will result in building an audience, but it doesn't happen overnight. And I had one more, but I forget what it was. Read my mind.
Leprechauns.
Leprechauns. And yeah, do it everywhere, right?
See?
See right
I knew
there,
that very
right
much.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You stare at him long enough, it comes
yeah.
out of my mind
It's
into
like-
his mind.
Don't choose one because Twitter could shut down tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. Make sure that you're building audiences that are relevant on each platform, and yeah, just do it. Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Like, thanks guys for checking us out. Again, give us a like. We'd love to hear from you, a comment. Check us out on all our social channels.
Yeah.
Boom. Practice what we preach.
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, podcasts on SoundCloud, all at the Lead Tool. Otherwise, guys.
SoundCloud is just lead tool because my dumb ass didn't put Bill on it.
All right. Well,
Sorry,
duly
guys.
noted.
Yeah.
Duly noted. Just search Lead Tool. You'll figure it out.
You'll find it. You'll see the big green icon.
Not that hard. Anyway, guys, we'll see you next week, same time next Wednesday.
Thank you.
I gave the quick peace sign.
Yeah, you gotta do it. Just
Yeah.
peace.
Yeah.
Peace be with